Hi everyone. Hopefully you can hear me above the sound of the river, but it definitely felt like the water needed to be in this post today, and I'm thinking it's probably to do with the deeper levels of cleansing we've got going on. You know what's happening in the planet right now, the different challenges we might be having in our personal lives, whether we're consciously aware of it or not. You know, there's a huge amount of light flooding into our physical bodies, flooding onto the planet. And of course, anything that is not of the light, you know, any density, any emotions, it's all coming up to the surface to be healed, felt, integrated within our physical bodies, forgiven. You know, forgiveness is a big part of that. And you know, talking about ancestral lineage clearing, because I know that many of the light workers have experienced, you know, a quickening in their personal healing very much over the last few years. And just to give you a wee bit of a context with regard to my own story, it was about I think it was like August 2016, and things just weren't working out for me. You know, I had been going into my default setting of pushing and driving myself hard with work, even though I was talking about doing the exact opposite. You know, things were collapsing financially. I had to give up my rented home, and I was just being guided by spirit to come back to Aberdeen. You know, there was my work needed to be about, you know, it didn't matter what I did for a living. That's what I was told. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. We want you to focus on forgiveness. We want you to focus on, you know, the healing work that needs to happen with your family. And that's been unfolding over the last few years for me. You know, there was healing to happen with my father and I, and he sadly passed at the end of January 2019. He was a very ill man. He was in a care home. But in many ways it was actually a blessing in disguise. He didn't have a quality of life. I know he was ready to go. And, you know, I wouldn't have wanted him to be in this situation. I know he would have been very unhappy being stuck in the care home through this whole pandemic situation without being able to have visitors, you know, because visitors were what kept him going. And so my heart goes out to you if you've been in this situation throughout 2020 of, you know, having your loved ones in a care home and not being able to visit them. You know, but whether my father was consciously aware of it or not, you know, I was there with him at the end when he passed. And I knew that there was light and there was forgiveness happening between us. And, you know, he communicates with me now, spirit side, and he's actually one of my guides. You know, in life, you know, we had different viewpoints, but in his death, you know, he's rallying behind me and encouraging me in terms of, you know, fulfilling my true soul's mission. And yeah, it's been quite a ride over this last few years, as I know it's been for you. I know some of you who read my blog posts will know that I was diagnosed, you know, at the end of this massive challenging time in my life when things were collapsing for the second time, to do with my finances, to do with burnout, to do with you know, losing my home, my relationship ending. And then just beginning to get back on my feet, I was feeling, and then being diagnosed at the end of 2019 with fast growing primary breast cancer. And you know, I like to try and keep things light and bright, although I sometimes can go into serious mode too. You know, but I've written these posts. You know, if you are struggling in any way in your life, you might be you might find that you get some helpful words of wisdom through the blog posts I've written. And I've written several blogs entitled Tits Up about my journey through healing primary breast cancer, fast growing primary breast cancer. My blogs are called Tits Up. And so yeah, many of us are dealing with, or have been the last few years, you know, physical ailments. As I said, you know, we've been facing and feeling emotions that we haven't had a chance before. You know, normally in life we're just so busy, aren't we? And our life is just full of distractions. But this whole pandemic situation, you know, everything's ground to a halt, and it's ground to a halt for a reason, so that we can go deeper into our own healing process. We can, you know, just to give you a little bit of a bit more of a story, you know, I've been getting messages today from several friends who work at John Lewis, or know people that work in John Lewis, you know, and I stay in Aberdeen, Scotland, and John Lewis is a big department store here, and we've already had Debenhams closing, and now John Lewis is closing. So my heart goes out to the people that are, you know, going to be going through a redundancy process, because, you know, just another opportunity really just for a reset. Many people are changing careers whether they want to or not. They're getting an opportunity to look at themselves on a deeper level, and that's not easy, you know, as I've found. You know, we really have to dig in deep and face maybe parts of ourselves that we haven't wanted to look at before, but you know, we come out of it stronger. I can honestly say that over this last 4 or 5 years, where I've basically lost everything and was starting to rebuild, and then at the end of that was diagnosed with fast growing primary breast cancer, and all the wisdom and the learnings that I've got from that, you know, because I didn't follow the conventional route. You know, I wasn't going down the route of a mastectomy or drugs. You know, I went into my body, listened to my body's wisdom, received guidance from source, and you know, I've been following that guidance, and it was just a big, I guess, program and pattern from the past that I needed to integrate. I needed to face, get the learnings around that, deal with the emotions around that, and that journey's ongoing, and become more grounded in my physical body, which has been happening over the last 4 or 5 years for me, as I know it's happening for you if you're watching these posts. So yeah, it's just to say, you know, don't lose hope. No matter how dark things might be looking or feeling, do not lose hope, because there is light at the end of the tunnel. You will rebirth. You'll look back on these tough experiences that you've had in your life. You'll know that you've grown enormously as a person. You'll know that you feel stronger. Perhaps it'll lead to doing a totally different career. You know, I was guided by source around about the time when everything was collapsing for me. I was told, you know, you're letting go of everything you thought you'd be doing to become the person you were born to be. So I know that there's a different assignment coming forward for me. It's not quite landed yet, but yeah, just keep listening to and following your own soul's guidance, your own heart's guidance, and be kind to yourself. You know, self-care is absolute paramount just now. It's not just a luxury, it really is a necessity. And if you are in the position where you have a little bit more time, then get yourself out in nature, you know, get yourself into the sun, be amongst the trees, be amongst the water and the flowers, and let nature do a lot of that cleansing work for you. So yeah, I think that's everything I want to say. I'm going to sign off for now, but I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.